Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. So guys, if you like what you see, what you hear today, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to talk about a very important topic today. I want to talk about the war against men. Or more specifically, I want to talk about how we can fight back as men against this war against men. So by the end of this video, you're going to learn a lot about how to fight back against what is known as the war against men. So over the last 65 years, there has been what I and many other pundits call a war against men. Masculinity is viewed as toxic. Men are viewed as evil, traditional male characteristics, and this is absolutely not true. Strong men always have been, and hopefully will again be, the foundation of civilization. Without strong men, without strong leaders, without fathers, without husbands, our civilization will collapse. As a matter of fact, we've seen this pattern in history. Civilizations reach empire, then they become lazy, they reach decay, and decay leads to chaos. From chaos comes the need for discipline and structure, and then from that you have strong men emerge who create civilization. So I'm going to argue today some things that we can do. We obviously can't change everything. We just saw an election, however, that I feel was founded on America's dissatisfaction with the old school system, which, the Democratic Party, which sort of institutionalized anti-male policies into their framework. We've seen that on sort of a larger political movement. The Republicans, ironically, I've never been a Republican. I've always been an independent. I've even supported historically some Democrats throughout time. But I think the Americans have become fed up with the Democratic Party agenda, which basically is single moms, obesity, LGBT. And, I'm not saying anything that we shouldn't support those groups, but the groups offer nothing for families and people who want to create and maintain strong families. So we've seen sort of a response to rejection of that on the larger political system. What I want to talk about today is what men can do in their personal lives to take power back. So let's take a little bit of this war on men. I have a whole chapter in my book devoted to this topic. It's called The Marginalization of Men. Marginalization means we disempower certain groups and move them to the edge of society. And interestingly, over the last 65 years, I think that is what has happened to men. I'm not going to be able to get into I'm not going to fully unpack that argument today. Obviously, I can't do that in a 12, 13 minute video, especially when I'm going to talk about the solution. But, we can look at some examples of the attacks on men in our media, in our academia. If you look at TV shows and movies, there are no men are portrayed as bumbling idiots. There are very few male role models. Men are not portrayed as the heroes anymore. It's always women that are portrayed as heroes. And hey, having a female heroine has always been a cool thing. But the problem is today, men are portrayed in our media as complete idiots, right? If you look at it, if you look a lot of what is going on, TV shows, movies, and it's usually, they want to triumph the power of women and they want to, fight the patriarchy. So that's been a heavy movement in our media. And, when people watch movies and watch TV and they see get this constant drumbeat of men are being idiots, they're going to start to believe that. So that's one tentacle of the attack on the war against men. The other one we've seen in academia. And one of the things, I was a member of academia for more than 20 years, and literally what we are teaching our women, we are teaching them to hate men. That is, women come into the university, and women, I argue, are naturally inherently good. It's our culture, our civilization, our society that corrupts them and teaches them to hate men. And that's one of the major things they do in academia. Okay, so, we have people who say things like, women need a man the way a fish needs a bicycle. That was a statement made very famous by Gloria Steinem, a leader of the third wave of the feminist movement. The feminist movement started off as a good thing. It just wanted to give women basic fundamental powers. You have first wave, you have second wave. But then by the time we had the third wave of feminism, it was really all about hatred of men. It wasn't so much about empowering women, it was about hating men. And we saw that statements like a woman needs a man the way a fish needs a bicycle illustrate that movement, that belief that men are the problem and that women are the solution. So, our academia, our media and our academia are really focused upon this hatred, this animosity of men, of overturning the patriarchy. And, now we're in a situation where we've had a war against men for 65 years. Okay, so the question is, what can we do? Women have the advantage in today's world in many ways. We talk, always one of the real most famous topics has been the income, the earning disparity, that, they would argue women only earn 83 cents on the dollar for each man, but that's no longer true. If we look at women in their 20s and early 30s, a number of studies have concluded and have proven this, women are now out earning men. So this whole idea that there's an earning gap is a fallacy. It's no longer true with young women, and as those women get older, it's become a permanent situation of our society and culture. In my book, I argue that women have taken over what I call something called institutional management. Because women are better designed at multitasking and they're designed for this sort of work, women have taken over. Like, for example, my wife manages multiple medical facilities, and women are inherently better at this. And so they're taking, and institutional management jobs are very high paying. They're usually all well over six figures. So the person managing the medical facilities is now making as much, if not more, than the doctors. So women are now out earning men. If we look at college, for every man that graduates, 2 women graduate. So women are graduating from college at a 2-to-1 ratio of men. So this whole idea of this repressive patriarchy that is keeping women down is complete nonsense. It's a relic of the past. Okay, it's an argument that was true 60 years ago, but it's no longer true today. But nonetheless, we still are hammering this idea into our young women that men are the problem and that women are disadvantaged. The truth is they aren't. And, in terms of marriage and families, we know that women have all the advantages. Courts almost automatically give custody to the woman. And, that's why marriage is seen as such a risky endeavor for men. So one of the problems with all this is the fact that men have now abandoned their roles. We have the red pill movement, we have the MGTOW movement. Because of all of this, because of the war against men, many men now have just simply abdicated their role as leaders, as fathers, as husbands. And I argue that that is not the solution, guys. All of that is going to do is it's going to accelerate the collapse of civilization, the collapse of our society. So what we need to do is we need to fight back. We've seen that politically there have been some movements along these lines, but really the most effective way of doing this is through managing our personal life. Okay, so men must take their power back. And I argue that the way we do that is we develop a ruthless system of managing our relationships. So, one of the original targets of my book was men in their 20s and their 30s. And the problems we have with these men is that they simply are not developing relationships with women. They've abdicated. So, originally I was kind of targeting my arguments with those men, but now I see a great deal of my viewership is over 45. We've seen that attitude has permeated men, young, middle-aged, and much older. I have many men over the age of 60 who have also said, hey, I don't want to mess around with relationships anymore. They're not worth it. I'm arguing that if we develop a ruthless system, we can again take back our power of relationships. We can again become successful in managing relationships. And again, I've talked about this many times in my videos, but let's recover it. How do we take back our power? Well, the first thing we do, we become very good at talking to women. We understand how the female mind works. Okay, men tend to be problem solution oriented. So when we get into a relationship, we'll say something like, oh, I have a girlfriend. I'm going to move on to another task. When we get married, we say, oh, I'm married, I have a wife, I'm going to move on to another task. You can't do that, guys. Relationships require constant management. Now, again, I know a lot of you said, well, heck, I don't want to do that. It's too much trouble. I'm telling you that once you master my system, once you master a rigorous system, a program of managing relationships, it becomes easier. So again, how do we do that? Well, we become very good at opening and talking to women. We become very good at getting lots of phone numbers. We become very good at getting lots of dates. Excuse me. We develop a rigorous system for our dating. We have rules. We adhere to the rules. We don't bend the rules because a woman's beautiful and we really like her. So if she does not accept your first 3 date ideas, if she's negotiating the date, get rid of her. She's going to be problems down the road. Okay? Another thing I like to tell guys, I don't talk about a lot, is let women spend money on you. Okay? The human mind operates upon a principle known as cognitive dissonance. That means if I do something, I'm a smart and rational person. Therefore, that action must be a good action. So if you can get a woman to spend money on you, she's going to have to rationalize, justify in her mind why she spent money on you. And that's a good thing. That'll drive her interest level up. So we ask a woman now, as men, we always pay for the first dates. We probably pay for the first couple of dates. If by the 3rd or 4th date, a woman starts offering to pay, let her do that, guys. Let women spend money on you. They have it. They're making lots of money nowadays, so that shouldn't be a problem. Again, guys, so we stick to the rules. Those 3 dates must go according to the rules. She must give you that kiss on the lips by the end of the 2nd date. If she doesn't, get rid of her. She's going to be trouble. She has to go along with your date ideas. Now, once we're dating her, she enters your dating rotation. Okay? A lot of people think, oh, it's unethical of me to date 3 women at a time. No, it's not, guys. In today's modern environment, in the war against men, we must do everything we can to fight back, and managing a 3-woman rotation is part of this fight. There's nothing wrong with dating multiple women. That's how we go about selecting that one very high quality woman. So we don't commit to women till we've been dating them for a while. So let's say you've been dating a girl 9 or 10 weeks. No red flags. The relationship is going great. She's pushing for commitment. Again, guys, it's always the woman must push for commitment. You don't decide when you become girlfriend, boyfriend. She decides. What you do is you just continuously raise her interest level. So you've been dating her for 9, 10 weeks. She's pushing for commitment. You give her that commitment. Okay? The process doesn't end. Then we have what I call the golden year. Okay? You have to have 1 full year of relationship with no major red flags, no problems, and that is when a woman becomes a marriage candidate. Again, guys, we don't propose the idea of marriage. We wait till the woman starts to bug us about it. Now, I know a lot of my readers don't want to get married, and that's a separate issue. What I'm saying is that you can still use my system to have very successful relationships. So you may not want to get married, but I'm sure all of us want to have a perfect golden year of dating. Okay, so you can see, guys, that we have all these rules. We have a ruthless, rigorous system, and that we have to be that way because there is a war against men. So we must do this to empower ourselves. Okay, so you must develop a system. It must be rigorous. It must be ruthless, and you have to understand that this is fair. In today's dating world, it's only reasonable for men to be this way. All right, guys, so this video is running kind of long. Again, if you like what you saw, if you like what you heard, please hit that like and subscribe button. Please feel free to ask questions. Like I said, we need to build a community. 20 years ago, we used to have communities of men devoted to seduction. It kind of get canceled by cancel culture. We need to bring that back. So if you have any questions, please post them up below in the question section. You can find my book on Amazon.com. It's only $13. It will change your dating life. Again, please hit that like and subscribe button, and happy dating.